Have you ever felt undervalued by someone you care about? It's a painful experience that can leave you questioning your worth and place in their life. But what if I told you there's a powerful way to handle these situations without losing your cool? In this guide, we'll uncover the hidden signs that someone doesn't value you and reveal how a Stoic would gracefully navigate each one. Ready to take control of your self-worth and find true peace? Let's dive in. Sign 1. Lack of respect. When someone frequently dismisses your opinions, interrupts you, or belittles your ideas and feelings, it's a clear sign of a lack of respect. Imagine you're in a team meeting, passionately presenting an idea you've worked hard on. Suddenly, a colleague cuts you off mid-sentence, dismissing your thoughts without even listening. This scenario can be deeply frustrating and demoralizing. A Stoic would approach this situation with calmness and inner strength. They understand that their worth is not determined by others' opinions, but by their own virtues and actions. Instead of reacting with anger or hurt, a Stoic maintains composure, recognizing that the disrespectful behavior of others reflects their character, not their own. In this moment, the Stoic chooses to act respectfully despite the provocation. They might respond with a calm yet firm statement such as, "I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I'd like to finish my point." This response not only sets a boundary but also models respectful communication. However, if the interruptions and dismissals continue, a Stoic would further reinforce their boundaries. They recognize the importance of maintaining self-respect and protecting their peace of mind. They might privately address the colleague, explaining how the interruptions are disruptive and suggesting a more respectful way to communicate. For instance, they could say, "I've noticed that you often interrupt me during meetings. It would be more productive if we each had a chance to speak without interruption." If the colleague's behavior doesn't change, the Stoic might decide to limit their interactions with this person. They understand that continuously engaging with disrespectful individuals can undermine their well-being. Therefore, they might choose to work more independently or seek collaboration with others who show mutual respect. By handling the lack of respect with such measured responses, a Stoic not only preserves their inner tranquility, but also upholds their self-worth. They demonstrate that true strength lies in controlling their own reactions and maintaining dignity, regardless of how others behave. Sign 2. Inconsistent communication. Inconsistent communication is another sign that someone might not value you. They rarely initiate contact, respond late, or sometimes ignore your messages and calls altogether. This can leave you feeling unimportant and overlooked. A Stoic would handle this situation by focusing on what they can control. They understand that they cannot change how others choose to communicate. Instead, they would maintain their own consistency and reliability. If the relationship is important, a Stoic might address the issue calmly. They could say, "I've noticed we haven't been in touch much lately. Is everything okay on your end?" By doing this, they seek to understand without accusation. However, if the pattern of inconsistent communication persists, a Stoic would reassess the relationship. They would recognize that mutual effort is essential for any healthy connection. Rather than dwelling on the lack of response, they would direct their energy towards relationships and activities that align with their values. This way, they maintain their inner peace and focus on what truly matters. Sign 3. One-sided effort. When you find yourself always making plans, reaching out, or putting effort into maintaining a relationship, it's a sign of one-sided effort. You might notice that you're the only one initiating conversations, organizing meetups, and keeping the connection alive. This imbalance can leave you feeling exhausted and underappreciated. A Stoic would handle this situation by reflecting on whether the relationship is truly beneficial. They understand that a healthy relationship requires effort from both sides. If they value the relationship, they might communicate their feelings honestly and calmly. They could say, "I feel like I'm the one always reaching out. I would appreciate it if we both made an effort to stay in touch." This approach seeks to address the imbalance without blame. However, if nothing changes and the effort remains one-sided, a Stoic would redirect their energy. They would invest their time and effort into relationships that are more reciprocal and balanced. By focusing on connections that bring mutual joy and support, they maintain their inner peace and well-being. This way, they ensure that their efforts are valued and appreciated. Sign 4. No support. A lack of support is evident when someone is absent during your tough times or shows little interest in your successes and achievements. Imagine going through a challenging period or celebrating a big win, and the person you care about is nowhere to be found. This absence can be hurtful and make you feel alone. A Stoic would handle this by relying on their inner strength and resilience. They understand that expecting support from others isn't always realistic. Instead, they focus on being self-sufficient and finding strength within themselves. A Stoic would also seek support from other sources, like friends, family, or mentors who genuinely care. They would appreciate the support they receive from others and not dwell on the lack of support from one individual. By focusing on their own capabilities and the positive relationships in their life, they maintain their inner peace. They understand that true strength comes from within and that their value is not diminished by the absence of support from others. Sign 5. Taking you for granted. Being taken for granted means that someone expects you to be there for them without showing appreciation or reciprocation. You might find that your efforts and presence are consistently overlooked or unappreciated. This can leave you feeling undervalued and frustrated. A Stoic would handle being taken for granted by evaluating the relationship objectively. They would consider whether the relationship is genuinely beneficial and healthy. If they determine that it is worth saving, they would communicate their feelings clearly and calmly. They might say, "I feel like my efforts aren't being appreciated. It's important to me that we both recognize and value what we do for each other." This open and honest communication can help address the issue. However, if the behavior continues and they still feel taken for granted, a Stoic would set boundaries to protect their well-being. They would limit their efforts and not go out of their way for someone who doesn't appreciate them. A Stoic understands the importance of self-respect and would ensure that their own needs are met. By doing so, they maintain their dignity and inner peace, focusing on relationships where mutual appreciation and respect are present. Sign 6. Disregard for boundaries. When someone ignores your boundaries and makes you feel uncomfortable by pushing limits, it's a clear sign of disrespect. Imagine setting a personal boundary like needing alone time, and the person consistently intrudes, disregarding your need for space. This can lead to feelings of frustration and violation. A Stoic would handle this situation by firmly and calmly reinforcing their boundaries. They understand the importance of protecting their own well-being and peace of mind. A Stoic would clearly communicate why the boundary is important, saying something like, "I need some time alone to recharge. I would appreciate it if you could respect that." This direct communication helps set clear expectations. If the person continues to disregard the boundaries, the Stoic would reassess the relationship. They recognize that continuous boundary violations can be harmful and that it may be necessary to limit or end the interaction. By maintaining firm boundaries, a Stoic ensures their own comfort and well-being, showing self-respect and protecting their inner peace. Sign 7. Lack of interest. A lack of interest is apparent when someone shows little curiosity about your life, thoughts, or feelings, and rarely engages in meaningful conversations. You might notice that they seldom ask about your day or take an interest in your passions and experiences. This can make you feel unseen and unimportant. A Stoic would handle this situation by understanding that they cannot force others to be interested. They would accept that not everyone will share the same level of curiosity or engagement. Instead of feeling hurt, a Stoic focuses on nurturing their own interests and being genuinely engaged in their own life. They might say, "I enjoy sharing things about my life and would love to hear more about yours as well." This encourages a reciprocal exchange of interest. However, if the lack of interest persists, a Stoic would invest their time in relationships with those who genuinely care and show mutual curiosity. They understand that meaningful connections are built on mutual interest and respect. By doing so, they maintain their inner peace and focus on relationships that are fulfilling and enriching. Sign 8. Self-centered behavior. Self-centered behavior is evident when someone consistently prioritizes their needs and desires over yours, showing a lack of empathy and consideration. You might notice that conversations always revolve around them, and they rarely consider your feelings or needs. This can leave you feeling neglected and unimportant. A Stoic would handle this by practicing empathy and trying to understand the other person's perspective. They might acknowledge the person's behavior without taking it personally, saying something like, "I notice that our conversations often focus on your experiences. I would appreciate it if we could also talk about what's going on with me." This approach opens a dialogue without accusing or blaming. However, a Stoic would not neglect their own needs in the process. They would balance their interactions and avoid enabling the self-centered behavior by consistently prioritizing the other person's needs over their own. If the behavior continues, a Stoic would set boundaries and limit interactions to protect their well-being. They understand the importance of mutual respect and consideration in healthy relationships. By doing so, they maintain their inner peace and ensure that their needs are valued and respected. Sign 9. Empty promises. Empty promises occur when someone makes commitments but rarely follows through, leaving you feeling disappointed and undervalued. You might notice that they frequently promise to help, attend events, or support you but fail to deliver consistently. This can lead to feelings of frustration and distrust. A Stoic would handle this by lowering their expectations and relying more on themselves. They understand that actions speak louder than words and that it's important to judge people by their deeds rather than their promises. A Stoic might address the issue calmly, saying, "I've noticed that some of your promises haven't been kept. It's important for me to know that I can rely on you." This straightforward communication seeks to clarify expectations without confrontation. If the pattern of empty promises continues, a Stoic would adjust their level of trust and dependence on that person. They would focus on being self-sufficient and seek out relationships with individuals who demonstrate reliability and integrity. By doing so, they protect their inner peace and ensure that their trust is placed in those who truly deserve it. Sign 10. Emotional distance. Emotional distance is apparent when someone keeps an emotional barrier, avoids deep connections, and seems indifferent to your presence. You might notice that they are reluctant to share their feelings or connect on a deeper level, making you feel isolated and disconnected. A Stoic would handle this by accepting that not everyone is capable of or willing to engage in emotional intimacy. They would recognize that they cannot force a deeper connection and would focus on nurturing their own emotional health. A Stoic might gently address the issue by expressing their feelings, saying, "I value our relationship and would love for us to connect more deeply. Is there something that's holding you back?" This approach encourages openness without pressure. However, if the emotional distance persists, a Stoic would respect the other person's boundaries while seeking deeper connections elsewhere. They would invest their emotional energy in relationships that are more reciprocal and fulfilling. By doing so, they maintain their inner peace and ensure their emotional needs are met. Through understanding and acceptance, they preserve their own well-being while respecting the other person's emotional capacity. Final thoughts. Navigating relationships where you feel undervalued can be challenging, but adopting a Stoic approach can transform your experience. By maintaining composure, setting boundaries, and focusing on what you can control, you preserve your inner peace and self-worth. Remember, your value is not determined by others, but by your own virtues and actions. Embrace the wisdom of Stoicism and let it guide you towards healthier, more fulfilling connections. Stay strong, stay resilient, and always respect yourself.